Jake Allen or Casey DeSmith might be on the move as the Colorado Avalanche are looking for a replacement for injured Pavel Francouz. We'll be getting into that. Plus, the Habs make a trade today with the Ottawa Senators for the rights to a minor league player. Plus, David Reinbacher has grown an insane amount since the draft combine. So you'll want to stick around for all that on this edition of Habs Digest. But before we get into that, we're happy to announce that once again, this video is sponsored by Rentals.ca, which is Canada's largest apartment hunting network. You can get houses, condos, apartments, really whatever you want.
Across the country, coast to coast, whether it's Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, and one of the things that I really like about it is that the websites, it's really easy to use, really intuitive with their maps. You can just search up any neighborhood that you're looking for and find amazing listings right there.
Yeah, and if you guys are longtime viewers of the channel, you'll know that I have used Rentals.ca. I got to remind you every time because it's a service that I genuinely like, right? It worked well for me. It was super easy to find apartments within my budget in the exact location near my work where I wanted to live. So if any of you are in the hunt for an apartment, Rentals.ca got you. And honestly, you've probably seen their billboards everywhere, right? No matter which city in Canada you live in, these billboards are all across the country. And if you want to find your next house, apartment, condo, whatever to rent, Rentals.ca has you covered. Jesse, let's dive into this. David Reinbacher. He is a big boy now. Like, we already knew he was kind of big. Yeah, 6'2", 194. But guess what? That figure is no longer accurate. David Reinbacher in the Canadiens prospect camp weighed in at 209 pounds with a height of 6'3". He's gained 3/4 of an inch and 15 pounds since the draft combine. That is insane. And you see him on the ice. He just looks like he's filled out, at least since highlights of last year. And it's insane the skating this guy has for someone his size.
It's true. He's not done growing, and apparently Lane Hudson's not done growing yet, So nice to see that size coming in with our decor. But, it's great to see him hitting the gym. David Reinbacher, our young star prospect in the making, really taking it seriously. We know that he's got a great head on his shoulders, great personality, but you got to think he's already got such great physical attributes. If he can just kind of, increase that even further, it's just going to, make for an even greater NHL career, So, that Cole Caufield's, really hitting the gym. So nice to see that David Reinbacher's doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're bang on with that. Like, not only has Caufield been hitting the gym thanks to that shoulder injury, and he's looking swole Caufield. David Reinbacher is bulked up and he's gained almost an inch in height. Juraj Slafkovsky has lost weight heading into the season, which is one of his big issues. So it's really just amazing. I guess I don't know if it's the new medical staff or the conditioning coaches or what, but it really feels like these Habs are heading into this season prepared very, very well. And yeah, really, really cool to see. But Jesse, let's dive into the trades, because the trades are what people are coming here for. That's what we want to talk about. The first thing we got to talk about is a trade that was officially completed today, and the Habs trade with the Ottawa Senators for Jakov Novak, just for future considerations. Now, look, guys, I know a lot of you are really upset that future considerations is being traded away. He has shown a ton of promise. However, it just wasn't meant to be. But Jakov Novak, it's an interesting situation, Jesse, because he actually signed a contract with Laval back in July. However, that was just a minor league deal. The Habs didn't officially have his NHL rights. Those still belong to the Ottawa Senators. This was basically a formality, and Novak had 12 points in 14 ECHL games this past year, so he's only 24, and he's 6'3". So I really feel like he could make a very solid depth addition for Laval coming up this year.
And providing a little bit of maturity there as well, which we have such a young team with the Rocket this year. So I'm glad to see, even though obviously it'll be his first time in the AHL, at 24, he's going to be able to provide a little bit of experience as well, which is great. And you have to feel again, Kent Hughes and Marty St. Louis are kind of coming together and influencing these type of acquisition, right? Because we're seeing a lot of guys starting to come in from Northeastern University, yes, whether it's Jordan Harris, et cetera, right? So, Kent Hughes has a really good feel on the pulse of a lot of college hockey and everything else like that. So you have to feel that even though it's going to the AHL, it's a player that Kent Hughes has seen and a player that he likes as well. So, you never want to just write off, these depth guys right away. Of course, it's looking more like that, but, having these depth pieces is important, and, we'll keep an eye on him this season and see how he does.
Yeah, for sure. And it's another thing too, like Kent Hughes and Coach Marty and this whole organization has really made it a theme of having camaraderie around the team and making it a place that players are going to want to go to, right? He signs with Laval, and Kent Hughes is like, hey, buddy, guess what? We're going to get your NHL rights, right? Doing him a favor. Hey, look, I know you. Like, I saw you at Northeastern. We're going to bring you in. It's just kind of a feel-good thing, but also never a bad move to get a player for free, right? And it's always a nice thing. So Kent Hughes keeps making moves and he keeps winning. And he couldn't continue winning, Jesse, because there are some juicy rumors. I wrote Ottawa, ignore that, it should be Colorado. But oh my goodness, the Colorado Avalanche, Jesse. Here we go. Frank Saravalli tweets, the hashtag Avs appear to be examining options on the goalie market. Sounds like Pavel Francouz has not completely recovered from his offseason adductor surgery, and there's concern he will miss some time. Francouz made just 16 starts for the Avalanche last season. What better team for the Habs to trade one of their goalies to than the Colorado Avalanche, one of their favorite trade partners recently? Jesse, I just feel like this is a match made in heaven, right? Colorado is still wanting to compete for a Stanley Cup. They won one not that long ago. With rumors that Landeskog might be back for this year's playoffs, they're going to want to stay as relevant as they can, especially early in the season, right? You don't want to slip behind because they have a real good chance at making a push this year in the playoffs, and I feel like someone like a Jake Allen or a Casey DeSmith is a perfect fit.
Yeah, they're looking for a goalie. They're probably kicking themselves they didn't keep Grubauer at this point, and we got too many, right? So obviously, it's some pretty simple math there. You have to feel, that something's coming pretty soon. We're starting to hear at it from a lot of different angles. Like you mentioned, it's like the Colorado Avalanche. They want to compete. They want to win. They're one of the best teams in the NHL, right? And even getting a guy like Allen, even though the cap hits a little bit more, again having that experience in the playoffs is always a great thing. But then also, DeSmith, might make a little bit more sense money-wise there. So you got to feel like they have some options, right? So, definitely something to look out for in the near future here.
Yeah, like obviously Allen and DeSmith both have very solid experience in the NHL. They both have very solid numbers. Allen maybe with a bit more of a proven track record, even if his stats maybe weren't quite as good for some of these years. However, Jesse, like you said, Casey DeSmith is on a 1-year deal at only, I think, $1.5 million. It makes a lot of sense for Colorado if you're just looking for a temporary fix for Pavel Francouz. Bringing in a guy like DeSmith who only has that $1.5 million deal could make a bit more sense. But if you were a betting man, and we don't usually go into betting things on this channel, but if you had to choose, which do you think would be more likely for Kent Hughes to at least offer to Colorado first? Do you think it would be Jake Allen, or do you think it would be Casey DeSmith?
I think honestly, I think that it'd probably be most likely that Casey DeSmith, just obviously the Avs, like many teams right now, just caught up against the cap, just a situation where they're planning and everything else, but just with COVID came, right, obviously affected just, the cap and everything else. So a lot of teams are kind of stuck behind that 8 ball. So they want to do something. They realize they need to rectify this situation. They just don't have a whole lot of space. So even though I could see Kent Hughes, maybe wanting to move Jake Allen, I see Casey DeSmith probably as the more likely trade here.
Yeah, and also you got to consider the fact that Kent Hughes has kind of said, "Look, I'm open to trading Casey DeSmith." And look, I know Jake Allen is probably better to get off of his contract if you're Montreal, and I'm sure Kent Hughes is looking to move him. However, he has basically said to DeSmith, "I am going to try and trade you." But either way, Jesse, I think one of these two. I don't know. I don't want to say it's a guarantee because nothing is a guarantee. However, these two teams have a great trading relationship. The Habs have a need. They need to get rid of one of their goalies. The Avalanche want to bring in a goalie. The Habs have a couple guys who could easily fill that role. I just feel like it's something we got to keep our eye on. And yeah, we'll make sure to update you guys if and when it happens. But that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We really appreciate your support. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.